poor salesgirl saved by Mafia Boss next day, he whispered, "You're mine now." Do subscribe because you are really important for me. The water was cold. Too cold. Aniola couldn't breathe. Her lungs burned as the ocean pulled her down, deeper, darker. The surface was a blur of light above her, so close yet impossibly far. I'm going to die. The thought came quietly, like a whisper in her mind. She was only 22. Too young. Too unprepared. Her friend's laughter echoed somewhere in the distance, muffled by the water filling her ears. They didn't even notice. The picnic, the joy, the music. It all felt like another lifetime now. Her body went limp. The fight drained out of her. Then she saw it. A white light, soft, glowing, moving toward her like a ghost in the deep. This is it. This is death. Her vision blurred. Her heartbeat slowed. The ocean cradled her like a lullaby. And then splash. Someone dove in. Strong arms wrapped around her waist, pulling her upward with violent urgency. She couldn't see his face clearly. Just shadows. Just movement. But she felt him. Warm. Solid. Real. They broke the surface. Air rushed into her lungs, sharp and painful. She gasped, choked, coughed up seawater. Her chest heaved. Breathe, just breathe. His voice was deep, commanding. It cut through the chaos in her mind. He dragged her to the shore, her body heavy and unresponsive. Sand scraped against her back as he laid her down. She tried to focus, tried to see him, but everything was hazy. He tilted her head back. His hands were firm but careful. "Stay with me." He began CPR, his palm pressed hard against her chest. Once, twice, again. Then his lips touched hers. Not a kiss, not romance, just breath, just life. Aniola's eyes fluttered open. She coughed violently, water spilling from her mouth. Her lungs expanded, desperate and grateful. She was alive. She blinked up at the man kneeling beside her. His face came into focus slowly. Sharp jawline, dark eyes, wet black hair clinging to his forehead. Handsome. No, more than that. Dangerously beautiful. He looked about 35, maybe older. There was something cold in his gaze, something distant, even as he saved her life. "You're okay now," he said quietly. Then he stood up. "Wait!" Aniola's voice cracked. She reached out weakly, but he was already turning away. Her friends rushed over, screaming her name, crowding around her, but her eyes stayed on him. He walked toward the parking lot without looking back. His white shirt clung to his body, soaked through. His movements were calm, controlled. Like saving lives was just another Tuesday. "Oh my God, Aniola, are you okay? We didn't see you go under." "Who was that guy?" Aniola sat up slowly, her head spinning. I don't know." But someone did. A man nearby whispered to his friend, loud enough for her to hear. "That's Luciano Blade." The name sent a chill down her spine. "The Mafia Boss?" his friend hissed. "No way!" "I'm telling you, I've seen his face before, that's him." Aniola's heart pounded. A Mafia Boss? The man who saved her? She turned to look for him again, but he was gone. Vanished like smoke. Her boyfriend, David, finally appeared, jogging toward her with panic in his eyes. "Aniola! Jesus, are you hurt?" "I'm fine," she whispered. But she wasn't looking at him. She was staring at the empty space where Luciano Blade had stood. David knelt beside her, brushing wet hair from her face. "You scared me." "I'm sorry," but her mind was elsewhere. On dark eyes. On strong hands. On a voice that commanded her to breathe. That night, Aniola couldn't sleep. She lay in her small, cramped bedroom, staring at the ceiling. Her mother snored softly in the next room. The sound was comforting, familiar. But her thoughts were a storm. Luciano Blade. She barely remembered his face. It was blurred in her memory, distorted by water and fear. But she remembered his touch. She remembered his voice. Who was he? Why did he save me? And why did the thought of him make her chest tighten? She tried to shake it off. She had David. A good guy. A normal guy. Someone who worked at a bookstore and wrote poetry in his spare time. Not a mafia boss. not danger wrapped in a beautiful face. She turned over and closed her eyes, forcing herself to sleep. The next evening, Aniola left the boutique where she worked. The air was freezing, biting at her cheeks. She pulled her thin coat tighter around herself. Her stomach growled. She thought about going home. Her mother would have made something simple. Rice, maybe some lentils. But Aniola was tired. And cold. A cup of coffee. That's all I need. She walked into a small cafe on the corner. It was warm inside, filled with the smell of roasted beans and cinnamon. She approached the counter and scanned the menu. Her eyes landed on the cheapest option, a plain black coffee, $2. "I'll take the house coffee, please," she said, pulling crumpled bills from her pocket. The barista smiled. "Actually, ma'am, someone already ordered for you." Aniola blinked. "What?" He placed a tall cup in front of her. Steam curled upward. The label read, "Salted Caramel Mocha Deluxe." The most expensive drink on the menu. I didn't order this," Aniola stammered. "I can't afford this." "It's already paid for," the barista said gently. Someone called ahead, said it was for the girl in the blue coat. Aniola looked down at herself. Blue coat. Her pulse quickened. "Who?" she whispered. The barista shrugged. Didn't give a name. Just paid and hung up. Aniola's hands trembled as she took the cup. It was warm, soft, expensive. She turned slowly, scanning the cafe. A few customers sat scattered around, none of them paying attention to her. But she felt it. "Someone is watching me." Her skin prickled. Her breath hitched. She hurried out of the cafe, clutching the coffee like a lifeline. The cold air hit her face, sharp and sudden. She walked quickly down the street, glancing over her shoulder every few steps. No one was there, but the feeling didn't go away. Luciano Blade. The name echoed in her mind like a warning, or a promise. Morning came too quickly. Aniola stepped out of her small apartment building, pulling her worn jacket tight against the bitter cold. The streets were gray, lifeless, just like every other morning. She checked her phone. 7:42 a.m. If she hurried, she'd make it to the store on time. She started walking toward the bus stop. Then she heard it. The low purr of an engine. A black car rolled up beside her, sleek and expensive. The windows were tinted so dark she couldn't see inside. It moved slowly, matching her pace. Aniola's heart skipped. She walked faster. The car stayed with her. Then it stopped, right in front of her. The back door swung open. Aniola froze. A man in a black suit stepped out not from the back, but from the driver's seat. He was older, maybe 50, with sharp eyes and a calm expression. "Miss Aniola," he said politely, "this car is for you." She stared at him. "What?" "Please get in. I don't know you." Her voice trembled. "I didn't call for a car." The driver reached into his pocket. Aniola flinched, but he only pulled out a phone. "Someone wants to speak with you," he said, holding it out. The screen glowed. A call was already connected. Aniola hesitated, then took the phone with shaking hands. She pressed it to her ear. "Hello?" Silence. Then a voice. Deep, smooth, dangerous. "Get in the car, Aniola." Her breath caught. She knew that voice. She'd heard it once before in the water when she was dying. Luciano Blade. Who are you?" she whispered. "You know who I am." "Why are you doing this?" "Because you're mine now." His tone was calm. Too calm. "And I don't let what's mine suffer. Not in crowded buses. Not in the cold. Get in the car." "I'm not yours," she said, her voice stronger now. "I don't even know you." A pause. Then a low chuckle. It sent chills down her spine. "You will." The line went dead. Aniola stared at the phone, her pulse racing. The driver stood patiently, waiting. She shoved the phone back at him. "I'm not getting in." "Miss." "No." She turned and walked away, fast, her legs trembling. She didn't look back. Behind her, the car didn't follow. But she could feel it, watching. Work was a blur. Aniola folded clothes mechanically, her mind elsewhere. Customers came and went. Her manager scolded her twice for zoning out. She couldn't stop thinking about the voice on the phone. You're mine now. What did that even mean? She didn't belong to anyone. Not to some stranger. Not to a mafia boss. But her hand still shook when she thought about it. At 6 p.m., her shift ended. Aniola grabbed her bag and headed for the exit. The store was in a busy part of town, crowded with evening shoppers. She felt safer here. Anonymous. She stepped outside. And there it was. The black car, parked right in front of the store, waiting. Aniola's stomach dropped. The driver stood beside it, hands folded. When he saw her, he opened the back door. Miss Aniola, he said calmly, my boss would like to meet you. I already told you, he insists. I don't care what he... Please. The driver's voice softened. He doesn't like to be refused. There was something in his tone, not a threat, a warning. Aniola looked around. People passed by, oblivious. No one would help her if she screamed. No one ever did. She swallowed hard. If I get in, where are you taking me? To his office. And if I refuse? The driver didn't answer. He didn't need to. Aniola's hands clenched into fists. She thought about running, about calling David, about screaming. But something stopped her. Curiosity, or maybe fear, or maybe something worse. She got in the car. The door closed behind her with a soft click. The interior was all black leather and tinted glass. It smelled like expensive cologne and danger. Aniola sat stiffly, her bag clutched in her lap. The driver got in and started the engine. They drove in silence. She watched the city blur past the window. Familiar streets gave way to unfamiliar ones. The buildings grew taller, sleeker, richer. After 20 minutes, the car slowed. They stopped in front of a towering glass building. It gleamed in the evening light, all steel and sharp edges. The kind of place Aniola had only seen in movies. A golden plaque by the entrance read, Blade Enterprises. Her blood ran cold. The driver opened her door. This way, miss. Aniola stepped out on shaky legs. The building loomed over her, massive and intimidating. She followed the driver through the glass doors. The lobby was pristine marble floors, crystal chandeliers, security guards in black suits. Everyone stared at her. She felt small, out of place, like a stray cat in a palace. They entered an elevator. The driver pressed the button for the top floor. Aniola's heart hammered in her chest. What does he want from me? She whispered. The driver glanced at her. For a moment, something like pity flickered in his eyes. That's for him to say, miss. The elevator climbed. Higher. Higher. Aniola's ears popped. Finally, it stopped. The doors opened. A long hallway stretched before her, lined with dark wood and dim lighting. At the end was a set of double doors. The driver gestured forward. He's waiting. Aniola didn't move. Go on, he said gently. He won't hurt you. Won't he? She took a breath, then another, and she walked. Each step echoed in the silence. Her hands were ice cold. She reached the doors. She raised her hand. Knocked. Come in. That voice again, deep, commanding. Aniola pushed the door open. And there he was. Luciano Blade sat behind a massive desk, bathed in the golden glow of the setting sun. He wore a black suit, perfectly tailored. His dark hair was slicked back. His eyes, those eyes locked onto hers the moment she entered. He looked exactly as she remembered, and nothing like she remembered. Beautiful, cold, lethal. He leaned back in his chair, watching her. Close the door, Aniola. She did. Her hand trembled on the handle. He smiled, barely, just a ghost of amusement. You refused my car this morning. I don't need your car. You walked in the cold for 40 minutes. I'm used to it. You shouldn't be. Aniola's jaw tightened. Why am I here? Luciano stood. Slowly. He moved around the desk, each step deliberate. Predatory. He stopped a few feet away from her. Up close, he was even more overwhelming. Tall, broad-shouldered, radiating power. You're here, he said quietly, because I want you here. That's not an answer. It's the only one you need. Aniola's pulse raced. I don't belong to you. His eyes darkened. You do, he said. From the moment I pulled you from the water, you became mine. That's insane. Maybe. He took a step closer. She stepped back. Her back hit the door. He caged her in, one hand braced beside her head. He didn't touch her, but he was close. Too close. She could feel the heat of him, smell the cologne, see the flecks of gold in his dark eyes. "I saved your life, Aniola," he murmured. "That means it belongs to me now." "That's not how it works. In my world it is." She glared up at him, refusing to cower. "Then your world is twisted." He smiled. A real smile this time. Dangerous. Amused. "You have no idea." Aniola couldn't breathe. Luciano stood too close, his presence suffocating. His eyes held her captive dark, unreadable, dangerous. "You can't just claim people," she whispered, her voice barely steady. "I just did. That's not how the world works. My world, my rules." She tried to push past him, but he didn't move. His hand remained beside her head, trapping her against the door. "Let me go," she said through gritted teeth. "Not yet. What do you want from me?" His gaze swept over her face, slow, deliberate, like he was memorizing every detail. "I want you to marry me." The words hit her like a slap. Aniola's eyes widened. "What? You heard me? You're insane." "Perhaps." He tilted his head slightly. "But that doesn't change the fact that I saved your life. You were drowning, Aniola. Dead in the water. I pulled you back. And I'm grateful. Gratitude isn't what I want." "Then what?" "You." His voice dropped lower. "You belong to me now. The moment I brought you back, you became mine. That's how it works in my world." Aniola shook her head, panic rising in her chest. "That's not, you can't just..." "I can. And I am." He stepped back finally, giving her space to breathe, but his eyes never left hers. "So tell me, Aniola, should we have the wedding in spring, or would you prefer summer?" Her mouth fell open. You're actually serious." "I don't joke about things like this." "I'm not marrying you!" Her voice rose, sharp and furious. "I don't even know you." "You will." "No." She pushed off the door, her fists clenched. "You saved my life, and I'm thankful for that. But it doesn't mean you own me. I'm not some object you can just buy." Luciano's expression didn't change. He walked back to his desk, calm and unbothered, and poured himself a glass of whiskey. "I didn't ask if you wanted to marry me, Aniola," he said smoothly, taking a sip. "I'm telling you that you will." "And if I refuse?" He set the glass down, slowly. The sound echoed in the silence. "You won't. Watch me." He smiled then. A cold, cruel smile that sent ice through her veins. 20 days, he said. "That should be enough time to prepare. The wedding will be at my estate. Private. Elegant. You'll have the best of everything." I said no. "I heard you." He leaned back in his chair, completely relaxed. "But your answer doesn't matter." Aniola's hands shook. Rage and fear warred inside her. "You can't force me!" "Can't I?" His tone was so casual, so certain, like he'd already won. Aniola's throat tightened. She thought of the whispers at the beach. The fear in people's voices when they said his name. Luciano Blade, Mafia Boss. A man who took what he wanted. A man who didn't lose. "I have a boyfriend," she blurted out, desperate. Luciano raised an eyebrow. "Do you?" "Yes. His name is David. We've been together for 2 years." "Congratulations." "I love him." "Do you?" His voice was soft, mocking. "Or are you just convincing yourself you do?" She faltered. "That's none of your business." "It became my business the moment I decided you were mine." "I'm not yours." "You keep saying that." He stood again, moving toward her with slow, predatory grace. "But we both know the truth, don't we?" "Stop," her voice cracked. "Just stop." He stopped a few feet away, close enough to make her heart race, far enough to let her feel the space between them like a threat. "Break up with him," Luciano said quietly. "What?" "Your boyfriend. End it. Today." Aniola stared at him, disbelief flooding her. "Are you out of your mind?" "Completely." He smiled, but there was no warmth in it. "But that doesn't change what's going to happen." "I'm not leaving David."
"Then he's a dead man." The words were so simple, so calm. Aniola's blood turned to ice. You wouldn't. Luciano tilted his head, studying her. I don't like sharing, Aniola, and I don't tolerate competition. If you value his life, you'll stay away from him. You can't just... I can. And I will. He stepped closer, his voice dropping to a whisper. If I see him near you again, if you call him, if you even think about him, I'll make sure he disappears, quietly, permanently. Tears burned in Aniola's eyes. You're a monster! Yes. He didn't deny it, didn't flinch. But I'm your monster now. She couldn't take it anymore. Aniola turned and grabbed the door handle, yanking it open. She stumbled into the hallway, her vision blurred with tears and fury. Aniola. She stopped. She didn't want to, but something in his voice made her freeze. She looked back. Luciano stood in the doorway, silhouetted by the golden light of his office. He looked powerful, untouchable. 20 days, he said softly. Don't make me come find you. Aniola didn't answer. She ran. The elevator ride down felt like a nightmare. Aniola pressed herself into the corner, her whole body shaking. She could still feel his presence, still hear his voice. You belong to me now? The doors opened on the ground floor. She rushed out, ignoring the stares of the security guards. The cold evening air hit her face as she burst through the glass doors. She kept walking, fast, her breath coming in short gasps. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out with trembling hands. David, hey babe, dinner tonight? I miss you. A sob caught in her throat. She thought about Luciano's warning, the coldness in his eyes, the certainty in his voice. If you value his life, you'll stay away from him. Aniola's fingers hovered over the screen. She wanted to call David, to tell him everything, to run into his arms and beg him to protect her. But she knew the truth. David couldn't protect her. No one could. Not from Luciano Blade. She typed a response, her heart breaking with every word. Aniola can't tonight, I'm sorry. She hit send. And then she kept walking, alone in the cold with nowhere left to run. Behind her, in the shadow of Blade Enterprises, a black car followed at a distance. Watching. Waiting. Aniola sat across from David in their favorite small cafe. The place was cozy, warm, filled with the smell of coffee and fresh bread. Normally, it made her feel safe. But not today. Her hands wrapped around her cup, but she couldn't feel the heat. She was numb, cold from the inside out. David reached across the table and took her hand. Hey, you've been quiet all evening. What's wrong? She looked up at him. Sweet David, kind David, with his gentle eyes and his soft smile. He had no idea what kind of danger he was in. David, I need to tell you something. His expression shifted. Concern crept into his features. Okay, what is it? She swallowed hard. That man, the one who saved me at the beach. The mafia guy? Yeah, her voice cracked. He called me to his office. David's grip tightened. He did what? He sent a car for me. I didn't want to go, but I was scared, so I went. Aniola? He wants to marry me. Silence. David stared at her, his mouth slightly open like he couldn't process the words. He what? He said that because he saved my life, I belong to him now. He wants to marry me in 20 days. David's face went pale, then red. Anger flashed in his eyes. That's insane. He can't just... I know. Did you tell him no? Of course I did. Tears welled up in her eyes. But he doesn't care, David. He doesn't care what I want. He just decided. David stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. I'm going to the police. No! Aniola grabbed his wrist, pulling him back down. You can't. Why not? He's threatening you. He's a mafia boss, David. Her voice dropped to a desperate whisper. The police won't touch him, and if you go to them, if you make trouble, he'll hurt you. David's jaw clenched. So what? We just let him do this? No, I don't know. She covered her face with her hands. I'm scared. David moved around the table and knelt beside her. He pulled her hands away gently, looking into her eyes. Aniola, listen to me. His voice was steady, calm. Are you going to marry him? What? No! Then what are we going to do? She looked at him, really looked at him. And in that moment, she made a decision. We get married, she said. David blinked. What? We get married now, as soon as possible. Her words came faster, desperate. If we're already married, he can't claim me, right? David's eyes widened. Aniola. I love you, David. Only you. I don't want him. I don't want any of this. She gripped his hands tightly. Please, let's just do it. Let's get married and leave this city. We can go somewhere far away where he can't find us. For a moment, David just stared at her. Then he nodded. Okay? Okay? Yes. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. We'll do it. We'll get married. I'll protect you, Aniola. I promise. She buried her face in his chest, tears streaming down her cheeks. She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe they could escape. But deep down, she knew the truth. You can't escape Luciano Blade. They spent the next few hours planning. David talked about getting a marriage license, finding a small courthouse, maybe leaving the city by the end of the week. Aniola nodded along, trying to focus, trying to feel hopeful. Let's go shopping, David said suddenly, smiling. You need a dress, something simple, something beautiful. David, we don't have money for… I've been saving. He took her hand. Come on, let me do this for you. She couldn't say no, not when he looked at her like that. They went to a small boutique on the edge of town. Nothing fancy, just a quiet shop with racks of white and cream dresses. Aniola found one she liked, simple, elegant, with lace sleeves. It wasn't expensive. She'd saved up a little money from her job. Just enough. It's perfect, David said, watching her hold it up. She smiled, a small, fragile smile. For a moment, she let herself imagine it. A quiet wedding, just the two of them. A new life somewhere far away. Maybe we can do this. Maybe we can be happy. They paid for the dress and left the shop. The evening air was cool, the sky painted in shades of orange and pink. David walked her to the bus stop. I'll call you tonight, okay? We'll finalize everything. Okay. He kissed her forehead. I love you, Aniola. I love you too. He left. Aniola stood alone at the bus stop, clutching the bag with her dress inside. Her phone buzzed. She pulled it out, thinking it was David. It wasn't. An unknown number. A text message. Her heart sank. She opened it.
Unknown, did you not listen to me? Her blood turned cold. Another message came through. Unknown, I told you clearly. You are mine. Only mine. Her hands trembled. She looked around, suddenly paranoid. Was he watching her? Was someone following her? The phone buzzed again. Unknown, you went shopping with him. You held his hand. You smiled at him. Tears blurred her vision. Unknown, I don't share any Aniola. I thought I made that clear. She typed back with shaking fingers. Aniola, leave me alone, please. The reply came instantly. Unknown, no. Another message. Unknown, 20 days. Don't make me remind you again. And then a final message that made her stomach drop. Unknown, tell David I said goodbye. Aniola's breath caught in her throat. No, she whispered. No, no, no. She called David. It rang and rang. Pick up, please pick up. Voicemail. She called again. Voicemail. Panic seized her chest. She started running, her bag swinging wildly at her side. She had to find him. She had to warn him. She ran through the streets, her lungs burning, tears streaming down her face. Please be okay. Please be okay. She turned the corner toward David's apartment and stopped. A black car was parked outside his building. The same black car? Aniola's knees went weak. The driver stood by the door, hands folded. When he saw her, he gave a small nod. Then he got in the car and drove away. Aniola stumbled forward, her whole body shaking. She ran up the steps to David's apartment and pounded on the door. David, David, open the door. Nothing. David, please. She tried the handle, locked. She pressed her ear to the door. Silence. Her phone buzzed again. She looked down. Unknown, he's alive. For now. As long as you remember who you belong to. Aniola collapsed against the door, sobbing. She was trapped, and Luciano Blade had just made sure she knew it. The store was quiet that afternoon. Aniola stood behind the counter, folding scarves mechanically. Her mind was somewhere else. On David, on the black car, on the text messages that haunted her. She hadn't heard from David in 2 days. He wasn't answering her calls. His apartment was empty. It was like he'd vanished. And she knew exactly who was responsible. The door chimed. Aniola looked up. A man walked in tall, expensive suit, dark sunglasses, even though it was cloudy outside. He moved with arrogance, like he owned every space he entered. "Good afternoon," Aniola said automatically, forcing a smile. "How can I help you?" The man didn't answer right away. He took off his sunglasses slowly, his eyes scanning the store. Then they landed on her, and stayed. A cold smile spread across his face. "I'm looking for shoes," he said. His voice was smooth, too smooth. "Of course, right this way." Aniola led him to the shoe section. She pulled out several boxes, leather loafers, dress shoes, casual sneakers. "These are our best sellers," she said. "Would you like to try any of them?" He glanced at the shoes. "Barely know." "Oh, we also have—" "Show me something else." Aniola brought out more options. Italian leather, designer brands, the most expensive ones in the store. He looked at each pair for half a second. "No, not that one either." "What? What exactly are you looking for?" He leaned back in the chair, studying her with unsettling intensity. "I'm not sure yet." Aniola's skin prickled. Something was wrong. "Sir, if you could describe what you need." "I don't need shoes." She froze. He smiled wider. "I just wanted to see you up close." Her blood ran cold. "Excuse me?" He stood up slowly, towering over her. "You're Aniola, aren't you?" She took a step back. "How do you know my name?" "Everyone knows your name now." He circled her like a predator. "The girl who caught Luciano Blade's attention. That's quite an achievement." Aniola's heart pounded. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Don't you?" He laughed. "Come on. The whole underworld is buzzing about it." Luciano Blade, the cold, untouchable mafia king, suddenly obsessed with a nobody. "I'm not." "You are." He stopped in front of her. "Too close. And that makes you valuable." Aniola tried to move past him, but he blocked her path. "Let me go," she said, her voice trembling. "Why? We're just talking." "I'll call security." "There is no security here." His smile vanished. "Just you and me." Panic surged through her. She reached for her phone. He grabbed her wrist hard. "Because I'm the only one who can keep you safe. I don't want your protection. I don't want any of this." She was crying now, angry and scared and exhausted. "I'm already committed to someone. You can't just force me into your life because you think it's convenient." "Convenient?" His expression darkened. "You think this is convenient for me? Then what is it? Why are you doing this?" He stared at her for a long moment. Then he said it. "Because I like you." The words hung in the air, simple, direct, devastating. Aniola shook her head. "That's not a reason. It's the only reason I need." "You're insane." "Yes," he didn't deny it, "but I'm also right. You need me, Aniola, whether you admit it or not. I need you to leave me alone." "I can't do that." "Why not?" He looked at her, Lee looked at her, and for the first time, she saw something other than coldness in his eyes. Something raw, something real. "Because the moment I pulled you from that water," he said quietly, "everything changed. I changed. And I'm not letting you go." Aniola's breath caught. "I don't love you," she whispered. "Not yet." He reached out and brushed a tear from her cheek. "But you will." Then he turned and walked toward the door. "Luciana." He stopped. "I'm putting guards on you," he said without looking back. "You won't see them, but they'll be there. Anyone who tries to hurt you will regret it. I don't want." "It's not optional." And then he was gone. Aniola stood alone in the boutique, trembling, confused, terrified, and something else. Something she didn't want to name. Aniola's phone rang early in the morning. She was still in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about everything: David's silence, Luciano's guards, Marco's threat. She grabbed her phone. Unknown number. Her heart sank. Not again. But when she answered, it wasn't Luciano's voice. "Miss Aniola, this is HR from Vertex Solutions. We'd like to invite you for an interview today at 2 p.m. Aniola sat up. "What? Your resume was very impressive. The position is for Senior Sales Coordinator. Are you available?" I didn't apply to your company." "Oh." The woman sounded confused. "Well, we have your application here. Perhaps you forgot." "It happens." Aniola's mind raced. She hadn't applied anywhere recently. But maybe it was a mistake. A lucky one. Can you make it? The woman pressed. Aniola thought about her current job. The tiny boutique. The terrible pay. This could be her way out. A fresh start. Yes, she said. I'll be there. Wonderful. 10th floor. Ask for Ms. Reyes. The line went dead. Aniola stared at her phone, a flicker of hope igniting in her chest. Maybe things are finally looking up. She called David immediately. He answered on the 3rd ring. Hey. Relief flooded through her. David, you're okay? Yeah, why wouldn't I be? You didn't answer my calls for 2 days. I've been busy. Sorry. His voice was distant, distracted. Are you sure you're okay? I'm fine, Aniola. What's up? She swallowed her worry. I got a call. A job interview. For a really good position. That's great. But he didn't sound excited. David, our wedding is in 2 days. This could be perfect timing. A new job. A new start. Yeah, perfect. He paused. Listen, I have to go. Good luck with the interview. David, I'll call you later. He hung up. Aniola stared at her phone, unease creeping through her. Something was wrong. She could feel it, but she pushed the thought away. Focus on the interview. One thing at a time. At 1:45 p.m., Aniola stood in front of a massive glass tower. Vertex Solutions gleamed in silver letters above the entrance. She smoothed down her best blouse and took a deep breath. You can do this. Inside, the lobby was sleek and modern. Marble floors, chrome fixtures, everything screamed money and success. She approached the reception desk. I'm here for an interview. 10th floor. The receptionist smiled politely. Elevators are to your left. Aniola walked over. 3 elevators stood side by side. In front of the first one, a crowd of people waited, chatting and checking their phones. The second elevator had a similar crowd, but the third elevator, empty. No one was waiting. Aniola frowned. Weird. But she was running late, and an empty elevator meant she'd get upstairs faster. She walked to the third one and pressed the button. The doors slid open immediately. She stepped inside. The doors closed. The elevator didn't move. Aniola pressed the button for the 10th floor. Nothing. She pressed it again. Still nothing. Come on. Then she heard it. A soft hiss. She looked down. Water. Seeping in from the cracks at the bottom of the elevator. Her blood turned to ice. No. She slammed the emergency button. Nothing happened. She pounded on the doors. Help. Someone help me. The water rose quickly. Too quickly. Ankle deep. Panic seized her chest. She couldn't breathe. I'm going to drown. Again. Tears streamed down her face as she clawed at the doors, screaming until her throat burned. Please. Somebody. But no one came. The water climbed higher, waist deep now. Her mind flashed to the beach, to the cold ocean pulling her under, to the white light. I'm going to die. And then she thought of Luciano. You bastard, she sobbed, her voice breaking. You did this. I said no to you, so you're killing me. The water was at her chest now. She fumbled for her phone with trembling hands. It was wet, but still working. She called David. Ring, ring, ring. Pick up, please pick up. Voicemail? David, she screamed into the phone. I'm trapped. I'm drowning, please. She texted him frantically. Aniola, help me. Aniola in an elevator. Aniola, water everywhere. Aniola, please David. No response. The water reached her neck. She tilted her head back, gasping for air. I don't want to die, she whispered. Please, I don't want to die. She thought of her mother, of the wedding dress she'd bought, of all the things she'd never get to do. And she thought of Luciano, his dark eyes, his cold smile, his promise. You belong to me now. I hate you, she choked out. I hate you so much. The water covered her mouth. She held her breath, eyes squeezed shut, praying for a miracle. This is it. This is really it. Her lungs burned, her vision blurred, and then, crash, the elevator doors exploded inward. Strong hands grabbed her, pulling her out of the water. She coughed violently, water spilling from her mouth as she gasped for air. Breathe, Aniola, breathe. That voice? She looked up through tear-filled eyes. Luciano. He was soaked, his suit ruined, his hair dripping. His face was a mask of fury and fear. You're okay. You're okay now. He held her against his chest, his heart pounding as hard as hers. Aniola's fingers curled into his shirt. She couldn't speak, couldn't think. She just held on. Security rushed over, shouting questions. Luciano ignored them. He lifted Aniola into his arms like she weighed nothing and carried her out of the building. She buried her face in his neck, sobbing. I thought you... I didn't do this, he said, his voice tight with rage. I would never hurt you, but... It was Marco, or someone working for him. His grip on her tightened. I got an alert from my security team. They've been tracking you. When you entered this building, they flagged it. I came as fast as I could. Aniola pulled back slightly, staring at him. You saved me. Again. I'll always save you. His words were a vow. She didn't know what to feel. Gratitude, anger, confusion. All of it, maybe. Why? She whispered. Why do you keep saving me? Luciano looked at her, his dark eyes burning with something she couldn't name. Because losing you, he said quietly, is not an option. She should have pulled away, should have demanded answers, should have run, but she was tired, so tired. So instead, she closed her eyes and let him carry her. And for the first time since this nightmare began, she felt safe, even if the man holding her was the most dangerous person she'd ever met. 20 minutes earlier, Luciano sat in his office, reviewing security reports. His men had eyes on Aniola 24/7 now. He wouldn't risk another attack. His phone buzzed. A message. Unknown number. He opened it, and his blood turned to ice. A photo. Aniola trapped in an elevator. Water rising around her. Terror in her eyes. Below the image, a single line. Too late. Blade. Luciano shot to his feet, his chair crashing backward. Alessandro, he roared. His second-in-command burst through the door. Boss. Track this number, now. Luciano shoved his phone at him. And get me every camera feed in the city. Find her location. Alessandro's fingers flew across his tablet. On it, Luciano paced like a caged animal, his mind racing. Marco. It has to be Marco. Boss. Got it. Vertex Solutions building. Downtown. Luciano was already moving. Get the car now. They ran. In the car, Luciano made calls. I need building schematics for Vertex Solutions. Send them to my phone. I need the elevator company's emergency override codes. And get me someone on the inside. I don't care how, just do it. His driver pushed the car to its limits, weaving through traffic. Luciano's jaw clenched. Hold on, Aniola. Just hold on. His phone lit up, schematics appeared. He studied them, calculating. Third elevator shaft. West side of the building. His eyes narrowed. It's isolated. Perfect for a trap. They screeched to a stop outside the tower. Luciano didn't wait. He ran. Through the lobby, past shocked security guards. Straight to the elevators. The first two were operating normally. The third had an out-of-order sign. He ripped it off. The doors were sealed shut. But through the crack, he could see it. Water. Rage exploded in his chest. Get me a crowbar, an axe, something to break this open. Alessandro appeared with a fire extinguisher and a metal rod from the emergency box. Luciano jammed the rod into the door seam and pulled with everything he had. The metal groaned. He could hear her inside, screaming, crying. I'm coming, he shouted. Hold on. He braced his foot against the wall and pulled. The doors gave way with a violent crack. Water exploded outward, knocking him back. He lunged forward and grabbed Aniola, dragging her out. She collapsed against him, coughing, gasping. Alive, alive? Now, Luciano carried Aniola to his car. She was shivering violently, soaked through, her eyes glazed with shock. He wrapped his jacket around her and held her close. You're safe now, he murmured. I've got you. She didn't respond, just clung to him. They drove to his penthouse in silence. Inside, Luciano set her down on the couch and grabbed blankets. He knelt in front of her, drying her hair gently. Aniola talked to me. Her voice was barely a whisper. You saved me, always. I thought you did it. Tears spilled down her cheeks. I thought you were trying to kill me because I said no. His expression darkened. I would never. I know that now. She looked up at him, broken and vulnerable. It was him, wasn't it? Marco. Yes. Because of you. Because he wanted to hurt you. She laughed bitterly. So I almost died again because of you. I'm sorry. And he meant it. But I won't let it happen again. I promise. You can't promise that. Her voice cracked. Your world is too dangerous. I don't belong in it. You do now. No. Aniola, he cupped her face, forcing her to look at him. I know I'm not what you wanted. I know I'm dangerous. I know I've turned your life upside down. But I can protect you. I will protect you. Better than anyone else ever could. David didn't answer your calls. The words hung heavy in the air. Eniola's face crumpled. He was probably just... He abandoned you. Luciano's tone was harsh but honest. You were dying, and you reached out to him, and he didn't answer. Maybe he didn't see... He saw Luciano pulled out his phone and showed her. My team tracked his phone. He read every message. He saw every missed call, and he did nothing. Aniola stared at the screen, her heart shattering. No, that's not... David wouldn't. But the evidence was right there. Message, read. Call declined. She covered her mouth, a sob escaping. Luciano's expression softened. I'm sorry. Why didn't he help me? She whispered. I was drowning, and he just ignored me. I don't know. But I'm going to find out. 2 hours later, Alessandro returned with information. Luciano listened, his face darkening with every word. Then he looked at Aniola. There's something you need to know. She was wrapped in blankets, staring at nothing. What? David, he's gone. What do you mean gone? He left the city this morning, took all his belongings, emptied his bank account. Luciano paused. And yours. Eniola's blood ran cold. What? He had access to your account, didn't he? She nodded numbly. For the wedding. We were saving together. He took everything. And he's gone. The room spun. No. That's not possible. David loves me. He wouldn't. He did. Luciano handed her a printed bank statement. Look. Eniola's hands shook as she read it. 0 balance. All her savings. Gone. She felt like she was drowning all over again. He used me. Her voice was hollow. He was never going to marry me. He took my money and ran. Yes. A sob tore from her throat. How could I be so stupid? You weren't stupid. You were trusting. Luciano sat beside her. He didn't deserve you. And you do. She looked at him, eyes red and swollen. You're a mafia boss. You're dangerous. You've dragged me into your war. I know. Then why should I stay with you? Because I'll never abandon you. His voice was firm, final. Because I'll protect you with my life. Because when you were drowning, I broke down doors to get to you. And I'll do it again, and again. As many times as it takes. Aniola stared at him, tears streaming down her face. I don't love you, she whispered. Not yet. He brushed a tear from her cheek. But you will. She wanted to argue, to fight, to run. But she was so tired. And for the first time in days, she felt safe. Okay, she breathed. Okay, I'll marry you. She closed her eyes. Not because I want to, but because I don't have anywhere else to go. It wasn't the answer Luciano wanted. But it was enough. Then I'll make you happy, he promised. However long it takes. 3 months later, Aniola stood on the balcony of Luciano's estate, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of gold and pink. She wore a simple white dress. No crowd. No fanfare. Just her and Luciano in front of a single officiant. He stood beside her, impossibly handsome in his black suit. Ready? He asked softly. She looked at him. Really looked at him. The man who saved her life. Twice. The man who broke down doors for her. The man who was dangerous and possessive and absolutely terrifying. And somehow, in the past 3 months, he'd become something else. Her protector, her home, her love. She smiled. Small but real. Yes, I'm ready. They exchanged vows. Simple words. Honest promises. And when Luciano kissed her, it wasn't forceful or demanding. It was gentle, reverent, like she was something precious. When they pulled apart, Eniola whispered, "I think I'm falling for you." Luciano's eyes softened. "Good, because I've been in love with you since the moment I pulled you from that water." She laughed through her tears. "You're insane. Completely." He kissed her forehead. "But I'm yours, and I'm yours. Always." And for the first time since this whole nightmare began, Eniola felt like she could breathe. She was safe, she was loved, and she was exactly where she belonged.